Today is lesson 1.2, round to the nearest 10 or 100. Our essential question is, how can you round numbers? A vocabulary word that you will see is round. Round means when you round a number, you find a number that tells you about how much or about how many. The problem of the day is, which is not a way to show 93? Well, we know as good test takers that we need to use the process of elimination. That means that we go through all of the answers and figure out which one does not belong. So let's start with A, 90 plus 3. I know that 90 plus 3 equals 93. The question is, which is not a way to show 93? So I know that it can't be letter A. Next, I look at letter B, 9 tens and 3 ones. I know that 9 tens equals 90 and 3 ones equals 3. So 90 plus 3 equals 91. So that can't be it either because it asks which is not. Let's look at letter C, 93 ones. Well, I know that if I have 93 pennies, that equals 93 cents. So I know that can't be an option either. So that leaves me letter D, 9 hundreds and 9 threes, 3 ones. So if I have 9 hundreds, that means I have 900 and then plus 3, so 903. So I know that it is letter D because that does not equal 93. Today we're going to be working on rounding numbers to the nearest 10 or 100. With your piece of paper, please draw a table that has the hundreds, tens, and ones. If you need to, you can pause the video and make this table. Next, I'm going to draw the number 645. I would like you to do the same thing. When rounding, we need to circle the number that we're rounding. So for 645, we're going to round to the nearest 100. So I'm going to circle the hundreds place, and that is number 6. And then I'm going to underline the number that is to the right of that. The reason behind that is that we're going to use the strategy 5 and above, round up, 4 and below, round down. So if the numbers are 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, you're going to round up, and if it's 1, 2, 3, 4, you're going to round down. 0 is also involved, and that is, you will round down for that as well. So here I've circled my hundreds place because I'm going to be rounding to the hundreds. I've underlined my tens place because that's right to the right of it. So this number right here is a 4. So I'm going to round down. So that means that this 6 stays the same. So this will be a 6. And then all my numbers to the right of it are going to be zeros. So my answer is going to be 600. Let's try a new number. My next number is going to be 589. Next, we're going to round to the hundreds place again. So I'm going to circle the hundreds place, which is a 5, and I'm going to underline the 8. Knowing the rule that we do, if it's 5 or above, we round up. So that means that this 5 turns into a 6. And all the numbers to the right of it, just like the answer previously, will turn to zeros. So my answer is 600. When we're working on a number line, it is the same kind of thing. So you're eyeballing it a little bit more. So for the first one, if I'm looking at the number 32, I'm going to look at the number line up here. I need to figure out where 32 should go and where it would be appropriate. So I started here at 0 and I ended at 40. Knowing that the number is 32, I know it's bigger than 30, but less than 40. So it has to be between these two segments right here. Now I know that the middle of 30 and 35 is I'm sorry, between 30 and 40 is 35. So I'm going to count the dashes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I know right here is going to be 35. My number is 32, so that should be a little less. So it would be right about here. So 32 would be right here. All right, the next one. If I had the number 174, I'm going to look at this number line because this would be more appropriate, 174. It starts at 0, but it ends at 300. So I know that 174 is more than 150, but it's less than 300. So I'm going to look here, and I'm going to try to figure out what the halfway point is. What is the halfway point between 150 and 200? Well, I know the difference is about 150, between 150 and 300. So the half of that is 75. So I'm going to pick the halfway point, so I'll count the marks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I'm going to pick about 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right here, that's my halfway point. I know that my halfway point is going to be 150 plus 75. So that would equal, when I add those two together, 225. So I'll write that here. Next, I'm going to know that it's in between here. It's not quite close to 225, but it is more than 150. So I put it right about here. It would be 174. So that's how you do that on a number line. Next, we're going to practice a couple times with rounding to the tens. So just like what we did prior, you're going to circle the 10 spot, which is the 6, and you're going to underline the 3 because that's right next to it. So the 3 is below 5, so that means that this is going to round down. So my number is going to stay, the 3 is going to stay the same, the 6 is going to stay the same because there's a 3, and the 3 turned into a 0. Let's try it again. If I have 209 and I'm rounding to the nearest 10, I'm going to circle the 10 spot, which is a 0. I'm going to underline the 9. I know that 9 is more than 5, so I'm going to round up, meaning that the 2 stays the same because we're not rounding the hundreds place. The 0 is going to turn into a 1 because if you were counting, it goes 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. And then the 9 turns into a 0. Okay. For 762, let's do the same thing. We're going to circle the 10 spot, and we're going to underline the 2. The 2 is below 5, so that means that the 7 stays the same, the 6 stays the same, the 2 turns into a 0. On your paper, write these three numbers, 829, 663, and 399. Please solve these rounding to the nearest 100. So I will circle those for you. Round to the nearest 100. This is what you will turn in today. And this concludes lesson 1.2.